criminal on a cross wouldn't be buried at all. They'd be taken down and thrown into a fire pit. He got buried on a shroud. Textile experts tell us was made for the high priest, the material. Imagine that, Tristan, if that cloth was made for the high priest. Perfect sense. And what it is, it's 14 feet long. This is a painting, of course, 3.5 feet wide. It's made of a fabric called linen, which comes from the flax plant. Listen up, KXD, I'm going to explain it, and that's okay if you don't know. So it's made from the flax plant, much more durable than cotton or wool, and Jewish practices prescribed that linen couldn't be mixed with cotton or wool. Anyway, it's one continuous cloth. They laid him on the bottom, as you can see, came around the top, closed it up Friday night, put that around him, they left. Sunday morning, they come back in. The scripture says, if you look at John 20, verse 6, 7, 8, 9, Peter and John went into the tomb, and they clearly describe what they see. And I don't know why this confuses a few Christians. It's not confusing at all. He says they see two artifacts. The shroud is laying there empty. Of course, he's gone on the stone bench. And there's another cloth we might talk about a little bit called the face cloth, a sudarium, laying nearby. As scripture says, it was folded up. English scriptures translate that sudarium, Tristan, often as napkin. It's not anything related to a dining napkin. I guess we just don't have a good English word for burial face cloth. That cloth, the small one laid nearby, was put on his face on the cross after he passed. It was to soak up the blood. In their belief system, Jewish belief system, they wanted to bury as much of the blood, if somebody was bleeding, with them in the tomb, and that's what they did on the cross. I'll show you a picture of it. Hold on. This is cut off. It's about a 2 by 3 foot cloth. This is in a little church in Oviedo, Spain. It's called the Sudarium of Oviedo. Sudarium is Latin for face cloth. The shroud is in a church in Turin, Italy. They took different paths after they left the tomb, and we have both of them to this day. Here you can see the blood stains all over it, and his eyes and his nose, and it's a very interesting artifact. But the purpose of this on the cross to the tomb was to soak that blood up, and it did. Once they got him to the tomb, new picture. Once they laid him on the shroud, Tristan, the face cloth had done its work. It was done. It got removed. It was not wrapped under him. I know people get confused. Oh, there was 2 cloths in the tomb, and you're only showing 1 cloth. Yes, 2 cloths. Face cloth nearby was removed, set aside. Shroud, 1 cloth around him. I just don't understand why some Christians can't follow that. It's so simple. Now, here's the interesting part. They go in Sunday morning. He's gone, obviously. They describe that in John 20. They're going in Sunday morning. The shroud's there flat and the face cloth nearby, but inside the shroud, now this is a photo negative, number one. The light is dark and dark is light. We do that because it shows the details much better. Secondly, this top of this one on the right and this one on the left would be connected. We've cut it and flipped it around to fit it on a picture. But now inside that shroud, and we've had it for 2,000 years, is an exact image, picture perfect, of his back, the side he was laying on, and his top face, that body that he was looking up at. So in essence, if the shroud's the real deal, he left us his picture. And not only his picture, but every damage, injury, insult, punch, spike wounds, scourging, you see the light lines. So everything they did to him in scripture is recorded. No, it's not, Aaron. You got to get better than saying stupid stuff. Just stay respectful. You can have your opinion, but that's a dumb thing to say when you don't know anything about it. So what in essence this is recorded is every injury in scripture to a T. One thing I always say to my Christian brothers, Tristan, is if something on this shroud contradicted scriptural account, I'm done with the shroud. I wouldn't speak of it anymore. But in fact, it's exactly the opposite. Everything you see here is so scripturally, anatomically, medically perfect to the scriptural account. And we may make that connection a couple times. So that's what makes this so interesting, is the image that he's left on it from the resurrection event. So then I dive into the science with botany, pathology, light science, blood studies. Over the last 50 years, Tristan, over 1,000 scientists. I don't do the research, to be clear. I collect it. I've met many of these scientists, but these are people in their various fields, medical doctors, pathologists, nuclear engineers, physicists, professors, hematologists, pathologists, whatever their field of what they do every day is an expert in. They then spend a little time on the shroud saying, what does this tell us in our field of science? And so we've got over 350 journal articles, 83 fields of science now. So it's an incredible database. Here, new picture. This is what my desktop looks like if I open a single file that says shroud. This opens up, and you're not even seeing half of them. Every one of these files, Tristan, is one slice of shroud information. Botany, pathology, life science, history, Jewish burial practice, whatever it is. I get these documents over the years, read them, process them, and then I put them in the appropriate file. So when I speak to these things, it isn't based on two things off Google or Wikipedia. It's based off of an incredible database of really good science in whatever these fields are. It's an amazing array of data that we have to go to. So what happened was, in 1978, a group of scientists was assembled by permission of the Vatican. The Vatican does have legal authority over it. Some people think, oh, that means it's a fake. It's been through many hands over its 2,000-year history. It wasn't until 1983 that the Savoy family transferred legal ownership. So yes, the Vatican has control, ultimately the Pope, but I think that's a huge mistake to mischaracterize the shroud as, and by the way, nothing I ever say would be against Catholics. I love my Catholic brothers, but in fact, to me, it belongs to all Christians that believe in his unaliving resurrection. Actually, that does anger some Catholics. I hate to say that. Most of them are very kind to me and welcoming, but a very small subset get angry with that. It's Catholic, don't you talk about it. Okay, I can't help it. It's the mission field he sent me in. I'm sorry they feel that way. Unfortunately, most don't, but I do run into a few that have that bitterness. But let's put that aside. 1978, a team of scientists was assembled, and they were 33 to be exact, and they went to Turin, Italy. They aren't going to ever move the shroud from Turin. There's too much risk in traveling it in any methodology. So they have to go there to St. John the Baptist Church and study it. And the church isn't made up to be a lab. So they spent a year and a half organizing their equipment. They took over 8 tons of equipment, and they were given 5 continuous days, 24-hour days, unlimited access. They brought the shroud out, they laid it on a big stainless table. They had to spend a year and a half preparing all different kinds of equipment and racks and ways to hold it. But anyway, they were given 5 days by the Vatican, continuous, 24 hours. So because of that, I've read a whole books on this. Because of that 5 days, they arranged their different tests like a choreographed dance. You get this 8 hours, you get this 8 hours. And they worked right through the night, slept in the rectory on different shifts. And these scientists that were selected, lest you think these were theologians, nothing could be further from the truth. Many of them were atheists, agnostic. The lead scientist, photographer, Barry Schwartz, I've talked to him, was Jewish. Some were Christian. The reality is they didn't care whether the shroud was real or not. They wanted to figure out what made the image. And many of them, I've read their books, were confident within a day they could show this was paint or a forgery. I mean, it's just, you're dealing with the highest level. By the way, the places these people came from, I read it on my talks: Bell Labs, Los Alamos Labs, Fermi Labs, Sandia Labs, Jet Propulsion. You recognize some of those names, Tristan?
Maybe 1 or 2.
They don't get any brighter than this. These are the top level people. They didn't care what their theology was. All they cared about was how good are you in your field. That was it. You don't get any people smarter than this in whatever their expertise was. So yes, it's moved multiple places throughout its history until 1600s. It was then finally moved to Turin, Italy. So it's been there for 400 years. So anyway, they do their 5 days of testing, right? I'll show you another picture.